Imagine, just for a second, that you've reached the absolute pinnacle of your academic and professional life, right? You did everything right.
Oh, the dream scenario.
Exactly, the dream. You went to the Ivy League schools, you suffered through those grueling, multi-round case interviews, and you finally landed a highly coveted job at a top-tier consulting firm.
Right, the big ones.
Yeah, we are talking the true elite here. McKinsey, BCG, Bain, Deloitte. You're making this massive salary, you're wearing the tailored suits, and you're ready to advise the biggest companies in the world. Then, almost overnight, you walk into the office and find out that a string of code has just made your entire role completely obsolete. I mean, have you ever wondered what happens to the so-called best and brightest when the very analytical skills that got them hired are just suddenly automated?
Yeah, it really forces us to reevaluate our entire understanding of job security, honestly.
Totally. Welcome to this deep dive, by the way. Today, we are looking at a fascinating and, kind of terrifying blueprint published by EON AI Ventures. It's called The Consultant's Pivot, a 90-day blueprint for the AI era.
Such a compelling document.
It really is. And our mission today is to unpack exactly how AI is upending elite knowledge work and to explore EON's incredibly radical three-path strategy to save these laid-off consultants from total professional extinction.
Right, because we are historically conditioned to expect technological disruption to hit, blue-collar work or maybe mid-level administrative tasks.
Exactly. Not the guys in the corner office.
No, exactly. So seeing automation strike the very top of the elite knowledge economy it's a profound shift.
Yeah.
It's actively dismantling the apex of the corporate hierarchy.
It's like a peek behind the curtain of a massive corporate restructuring that most people don't even realize is happening right now.
Yeah, and what EON has put together here is not some theoretical white paper. It's highly tactical. They're looking at a very specific population of displaced workers. People who possess massive analytical brain power and intense work ethics.
The overachievers.
Basically, yeah. And they are trying to rapidly redirect that energy before it simply evaporates from the labor market entirely.
Okay, let's unpack this, because before we get into those lifelines, we really need to understand the sheer scale of the crater that's just been left in the consulting industry.
It is massive.
It's like the traditional pyramid structure of these massive firms just had its entire foundation vaporized by a laser. We hear about AI taking jobs, but why are these specific, high-paying, prestige jobs vanishing so fast?
Well, it really comes down to the fundamental nature of what a junior consultant actually does day to day.
Right.
The bottom of that traditional consulting pyramid has always been built on heavy, time-consuming cognitive lifting.
The grunt work.
Exactly. When a client hires a major firm to, say, optimize their global supply chain, it's the junior associates who spend 80 hours a week doing the granular data analysis.
Oh, man, yeah.
They're scraping endless market research. They're drafting those massive 100-page initial recommendations.
The grind, crunching numbers and formatting presentations for the senior partners so they can waltz into the boardroom.
Right, but Harvard Business School recently published a study that completely shatters the justification for having humans do that grind.
Wow.
The data actually confirms that AI can complete this exact type of consulting work 25% faster.
Okay, sure.
And, crucially, 40% better than human consultants.
Wait, hold on. 25% faster makes total sense. We all expect computers to process information faster than a human brain, right?
Sure.
But 40% better, that is the part that makes you just stop in your tracks. I mean, how does an AI inherently deliver higher quality strategic consulting than a person with, a master's degree from Wharton?
Yeah, it's a great question. When we talk about that 40% leap in quality, we aren't just talking about fewer typos or faster formatting.
Right.
We are talking about cognitive scope. A human analyst gets tired.
True. Especially after 80 hours.
Exactly. And a human analyst has blind spots based on their specific background. An AI agent, on the other hand, can cross-reference a client's highly niche supply chain issue against millions of historical case studies, global tax codes, and real-time shipping logistics in 3 seconds.
That's just insane to think about.
It zeroes in on market anomalies and structural inefficiencies that a human team simply cannot physically uncover in a standard 2-week sprint. It is doing high-level analytical work at a fundamentally higher resolution.
Which means the traditional pyramid structure of these massive firms is being intentionally dismantled by the firms themselves.
Yep.
Because, I mean, if I'm a senior partner, I am not going to bill a client for a team of 10 junior associates taking 3 weeks to do a market analysis when I can just spin up a piece of software that does it flawlessly before I even finish my morning coffee.
You'd be crazy, too. In fact, McKinsey alone is deploying 25,000 AI agents internally right now.
25,000.
Yeah. And think about the operational mechanics of that.
Yeah.
They're not just buying a new software suite for their human employees to, like, click around in.
Right. It's not just a new version of Excel.
Exactly. They are deploying 25,000 autonomous digital workers to independently execute the complex workflows that formerly required legions of elite graduates.
Wow.
It completely breaks the old economic model, which relied on billing clients for hundreds of human hours. The entry point into elite business consulting has structurally collapsed.
Leaving a very big, very real problem for all those incredibly smart, highly educated people who suddenly find themselves, out on the street.
Exactly.
Where do they go? How do they survive when their primary skill, which is this deep cognitive analysis, is no longer a scarce or valuable resource?
And that is exactly where the EON blueprint comes in.
Right. This brings us to EON's 90-day blueprint. And their first proposed lifeline, which they call Path 1, is probably the single most surprising thing I have ever read in a corporate strategy document.
Oh, Path 1 is a stark departure from anything resembling traditional knowledge work.
That is an understatement. I mean, EON's first path is literally abandon knowledge work entirely and become a skilled tradesperson.
Yeah.
They are actively pitching former elite consultants on moving into the physical data center build-out sector. They want these spreadsheet jockeys to trade their tailored suits for actual physical tool belts and hard hats.
It sounds wild, but what's fascinating here is the underlying economic logic driving this. It's impossible to ignore.
Really?
We're in the middle of an unprecedented AI boom, right?
Yeah.
And artificial intelligence does not just exist in the cloud. It requires an astronomical amount of physical computing power.
Right, servers and cooling systems.
Exactly. That means building massive, highly specialized physical data centers across the globe.
Okay, but the economics are staggering. Like, the source mentioned specialized electricians working on these massive server farms can earn up to $300,000 a year.
Oh, easily.
Let that sink in for a moment. $300,000 for physical trade work. And there is massive structural demand, right?
Huge demand.
I think the document said there are 81,000 openings annually in this specific sector projected straight through the year 2034.
Right, and it represents a total inversion of the prestige economy we have lived in for decades.
Yeah.
For 50 years, the societal push was to move away from physical labor.
Yeah.
Get a degree, get into an office, enter the supposedly safe, lucrative realm of knowledge work.
The American dream, basically.
Exactly. But now the knowledge work is being automated by the very machines that require complex physical labor to be plugged in, cooled, and powered up.
Okay, I have to push back on the reality of this, though. I mean, have you ever met a junior associate at a major consulting firm?
I have.
These are people who complain when the espresso machine in the break room is broken. Are we realistically expecting them to pivot to pulling heavy, high-voltage electrical cables in a massive, deafeningly loud server farm? It just feels like a massive leap to assume a financial modeler can just become an industrial electrician.
Well, it sounds absurd if you imagine them just walking onto a construction site with no context, sure.
Right.
But EON isn't just telling them to go find a local apprenticeship. They are facilitating the pivot systematically for a highly analytical demographic.
How so?
The program provides advanced simulation labs where they learn the complex physics and engineering of data center loads, industrial HVAC cooling requirements, and high-voltage routing.
No, so treating it like an engineering problem.
Exactly. They go through a highly structured curriculum that leverages their ability to learn complex systems rapidly, and they receive verifiable trade certification to qualify them for these roles. Remember one absolute truth about this technological revolution.
What's that?
AI cannot pull physical cables.
Yeah, that's true. A large language model cannot pour concrete.
Yep.
It can't sign off on an industrial electrical permit, and it certainly can't crawl through a ventilation shaft to fix a cooling unit.
Right. So EON is strategically guiding these displaced workers toward the literal physical infrastructure that powers the very software that took their original jobs.
That is so pragmatic.
It is highly pragmatic. If the gold rush is in artificial intelligence And you can no longer be the one panning for gold because a robot does it infinitely better.
You become the person building the railroad to the mine.
Exactly.
Build the railroad to the AI mine. It's brilliant. But okay, let's say you are a laid-off consultant listening to this and you spent $200,000 on your Ivy League education.
Sure.
You want to stay in the corporate world, you want to stay in the boardroom, and you absolutely refuse to put on a hard hat.
Many will feel that way.
Right. If the physical infrastructure is going to be built anyway, what happens to the consultant who refuses to leave the office? If they can't beat the AI, how do they integrate with it?
That is precisely what EON addresses with Path 2 and Path 3.
Okay.
Because if Path 1 is about fleeing the disruption into the physical world, Paths 2 and 3 are entirely about leaning into the disruption and commanding it. Path 2 is called Become the AI Person at Your Next Company.
Okay, so this is for the professionals who still want to be employees, who want the relative safety of an organization.
Exactly.
EON teaches them how to effectively deploy AI agents to solve internal company problems. But, I mean, how is this different from just being the guy in the office who knows how to type good prompts into standard ChatGPT?
Well, there is a massive operational difference.
Yeah.
EON is training them to implement enterprise-grade solutions, specifically tools like OpenAI Enterprise.
Aha, okay.
This isn't a public chatbot. It is a secure, closed-loop system that can actually access a company's proprietary data safely without leaking it to the public internet.
Which is a huge concern for corporations right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they take their existing analytical skills, their deep understanding of how global logistics work, how marketing funnels function, how corporate finance operates, and they learn to build custom AI workflows that optimize those specific areas.
So they transition from being the person manually doing the analysis to being the architect managing the AI system that runs the analysis.
Exactly.
It makes them indispensable to a mid-sized company that doesn't know how to securely implement these tools.
It completely elevates their role from a task doer to a systems integrator.
Wow.
But Path 3 is where the blueprint scales individual human potential to a level we have literally never seen before.
Okay, let's hear it.
Path 3 is to build your own one-person consulting practice. And this is designed specifically for former big consulting associates who want to go independent.
Right.
EON teaches them to leverage a staggering 250 AI agents to act as their own personal firm.
I am still trying to wrap my head around the mechanics of that. 250 agents.
I know, it sounds like a lot.
It does. How does one human brain control 250 digital minions without exploding from information overload? I mean, it sounds physically impossible to manage.
Well, you aren't individually chatting with 250 different bots simultaneously, right?
Thank goodness.
EON teaches them how to build and manage an orchestration layer. It works through a hierarchical command structure.
Like a real company.
Exactly. As the human operator, you give a high-level strategic command. For example, analyze our competitors' new pricing strategy across European markets.
And then the system breaks that down.
Right. The primary orchestration agent breaks that broad command into 50 specific subtasks.
Okay.
It delegates those tasks to 50 different web scraping agents. Once they gather the data, they feed it to 50 analytical agents who process the numbers.
Wow.
Then synthesis agents combine those findings, and formatting agents build the final client-ready presentation.
That's incredible.
The human operator just monitors the dashboard, reviews the outputs, refines the strategy, and ensures the context aligns with the client's actual business goals.
So essentially, you're becoming a corporate cyborg.
I love that phrase, yes.
You are the one single human brain acting as the CEO, the partner, and the visionary, but you have this massive automated engine room doing the exact grunt work your former colleagues used to do.
Precisely.
And the source says by day 91 of this program, these people are finding clients, delivering results entirely independently, and keeping 100% of the revenue they generate.
Which highlights a profound shift in where economic value is generated today.
Yeah.
The value of an elite consultant is no longer measured by how fast they can manually build a pivot table or format a PowerPoint slide.
Right.
The value is now entirely about orchestration. It is about managing the AI swarm, synthesizing the multiple perspectives those agents generate, and acting as the high-level strategic integrator.
I love the metaphor of the engine and the steering wheel here. The human is no longer the engine providing the raw horsepower, right? DI agents are the engine.
Okay, yeah.
The human is just the steering wheel, providing the direction, the nuance, and the emotional intelligence to actually sell the solution to the client.
And because of that, a single individual operating on Path 3 can punch at the weight of an entire mid-sized consulting firm.
That's wild.
They have the cognitive output of hundreds of workers with the overhead costs of a single laptop.
The ambition here is just enormous. Whether you are becoming a high-voltage electrician in a server farm, the indispensable AI integrator at a Fortune 500 company, or, like you said, a solo corporate cyborg commanding a digital army.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk reality for a second. I'm looking at this 90-day timeline, and frankly, it feels a little like a scam.
Very tight window.
Right. You cannot completely reinvent your professional identity and learn to command an orchestration layer of 250 agents in 3 months. I mean, what is EON actually doing mechanically to prove this isn't just vaporware?
Well, a 90-day window for complete professional reinvention requires an incredibly aggressive structural support system.
Okay.
Traditional education models, listening to a lecture and taking a test, will not work on this timeline.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's start with their mentorship model, because this is where the blueprint gets really surreal.
Brainy 2.0.
Yes. They introduce a mentor called Brainy 2.0, and this is an AI mentor, complete with a simulated face and a voice, providing 24/7 guidance to the participants.
Consider the bottleneck of traditional human mentorship for a second.
Okay.
If you have a human guidance counselor or a senior partner teaching you, you might get, 1 hour of their time a week?
If you're lucky.
Exactly.
Okay.
Brainy 2.0 fundamentally changes the learning mechanism. It is a large language model trained specifically on behavioral coaching and the entire EON curriculum.
Right.
It can monitor a participant's progress in real time. If you stall while trying to deploy an enterprise AI framework at 2.0 a.m., Brainy 2.0 intervenes instantaneously.
That's why.
It provides personalized, adaptive feedback at any hour of the day, allowing for a velocity of learning that humans simply cannot match.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Let's just pause and appreciate the ultimate, almost dystopian irony of this entire setup.
Yeah.
They are literally using an AI mentor, a digital entity that never sleeps, to train humans who just lost their jobs to AI on how to survive the AI.
It is a bit circular.
It's insane. The machine is teaching you how to survive the machine.
The irony is completely inescapable. But from a purely systemic perspective, you have to utilize the tools of the disruption to survive the disruption.
Right.
You cannot beat an algorithmic wave of automation by reading a textbook. Brainy 2.0 represents the exact scale and speed required to keep these displaced workers relevant.
Fight code with code. I get it. And beyond the AI mentor, EON also provides the EAFI credential upon graduation, right?
Yes, the Enterprise AI Framework Integrator credential.
Right. Which future employers or clients can authenticate, which gives the graduate a tangible badge of trust in a very noisy market. But what really stood out to me as proof that this isn't just a course you buy and forget about is their 4-condition money-back guarantee.
Guarantees in the educational and upskilling space are virtually non-existent, precisely because outcomes are usually entirely dependent on the student's motivation.
Right, but EON lays out 4 very specific hurdles to mitigate that.
Yep.
If participants, 1, complete the curriculum, 2, actively attend their mentor sessions with Brainy 2.0.
Which is tracked.
Right. 3, submit a fully fleshed out business plan by day 45. And 4, deliver a working AI solution by day 90. I mean, if you do all of that and you still fail to secure paying clients, you get a full refund.
The bold claim.
And submitting a business plan by day 45 forces real accountability. You can't just passively watch videos on your couch. You know, you have to build something tangible halfway through the program.
It acts as a forcing function for action. And when you look at the comparative positioning of the program, the barrier to entry is surprisingly low.
Yeah.
EON has priced this at just $975, or $99 a month.
Which, I mean, in the context of professional development for people used to elite consulting salaries, is basically couch change.
Exactly. EON draws very sharp contrasts with the rest of the market here. If you look at traditional prestige upskilling like McKinsey Academy, they charge upwards of $5,000 for management courses that don't even guarantee client acquisition.
Wow, okay.
On the other end of the spectrum, you have tech incubator models like Y Combinator or Antler. They might help you build a company, but they demand significant equity in your new venture and have notoriously single-digit acceptance rates.
Right, but what about the mass market stuff, like the $10 online courses?
Platforms like Coursera or Udemy are great for learning the theoretical concepts of artificial intelligence.
Sure.
But they completely lack actionable deployment paths. You might learn how a neural network functions, but you don't walk away with an orchestration layer of 250 agents ready to build corporate clients.
That makes a lot of sense.
EON positions itself as an end-to-end deployment engine that doesn't take a piece of your company or drain your savings.
So they are taking a highly capable, highly stressed demographic and offering them a structured, deeply practical escape route. But that escape route comes with a very loud ticking clock.
Oh, the overarching theme of EON's entire blueprint is extreme urgency.
Yeah.
The restructuring of the consulting industry is not a temporary economic dip, It is a permanent realignment of how corporate problems are solved.
The blueprint really drives home this critical takeaway for anyone listening. Displaced professionals must move quickly within the next 90 days.
Absolutely.
They have to position themselves ahead of the thousands of other highly credentialed consultants who are currently flooding the job market, looking for the exact same lifelines. I mean, if you wait around hoping the old consulting pyramid rebuilds itself or hoping the senior partners decide they suddenly miss paying for human junior associates, you're going to be left permanently behind.
The window to act as an early adopter, to be the person who masters the AI rather than the person replaced by it, is closing rapidly.
Yeah.
Whether these professionals transition into the physical infrastructure of the skilled trades, become an internal AI systems integrator, or launch an independent AI-powered solo firm, they have to move now.
Right.
EON's blueprint is basically a survival manual for bridging the gap between traditional human expertise and the unforgiving efficiency of the new AI era.
It really is a completely new world. You either adapt and learn to steer the machine or you get run over by it.
Well said.
We've unpacked a lot today. We've looked at how a human can become a cyborg solopreneur, acting as the CEO of a digital swarm to do the work 40% better than their former colleagues. We've looked at the massive pivot into the physical trades. But I want to leave you with a final thought, something to really chew on after this deep dive is over.
Always the best part.
If an AI can do the human junior consultant's work 40% better right now, and an AI mentor like Brainy 2.0 can successfully train a human to run a 250-agent solo firm, how long until those 250 AI agents decide they no longer need the one-person human CEO at the top to direct them?
That is the ultimate question.
If the agents are doing the research, synthesizing the data, and formatting the strategy, will the corporate clients of tomorrow even bother hiring the cyborg solopreneur? Or will they just cut out the middleman and hire the AI agents directly? Think about that. Until next time, keep digging.